Hello and welcome to another GCSE revision video. In this video we're going to be looking at the AQA GCSE 8300 series. This is the first paper in the higher tier and it's the November 2017 series of exams. This is a non-calculator paper and we're picking up in question 29, which reads: here is a sketch of y equals sine x degrees for negative 360 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 360. So basically for x between negative 360 and 360. Before we go, let's just pop that on in case we need it. So that's negative 360 degrees. And this is 360 degrees, which we've got from the description of the graph. Write down the coordinates of P. Okay. Well, I know this looks like it's a graph of a function, but what we're actually dealing with here is a very cleverly disguised question about your unit circle. So let's just, first of all, what do we know about the sign? We know that it has to go from positive 1 to negative 1. So the highest point is positive 1. And the lowest point it ever reaches is negative 1. So we've just labelled our y-axis here. So we've got our origin 0, 0. We know that sine 0 is 0. When else is sine 0? We know it's 0 at 360 degrees, but it's also 0 at 180 degrees. In fact, let me try and see if I can quickly draw a little bit of a unit circle for our sine. Okay, so our unit circle, our coordinates are, this is 0, 0. This is 0, 1. This is negative 1, 0, and this is negative 1. Sorry, this is 0, negative 1. And the cosine is the distance along the, in fact, if I draw a radius in, there you go. So if I can make a thinner line, there's a pretend thingy here. So your opposite, which is this, actually let me draw the angle in so you know what I'm talking about. So here's our x. So your opposite over hypotenuse is your sine, but your radius is 1. So your coordinate is the distance along the x-axis, which is your cosine, because your cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse from SOHCAHTOA, and the opposite gives you your sine. So your xy coordinates are cos, comma sine. And that's basically all we need to know. So your sine is 1 at 90 degrees. So this is 1. So this here, this point here is 90 degrees. This point here is 180 degrees. This is 360 degrees. Now, if we go into the negative, it's at negative 1 here. Oh, sorry, that's the cosine is negative 1. The sine is 0 at 180 degrees. So here is 180 degrees. But if we're going the opposite way round, so at negative 180 degrees, it's also going to be 0. And if we go in the opposite way round, at negative 90 degrees, the sine is going to be negative 1. So this here is negative 90. And here at Q is going to be negative 270 degrees, where the sine is 1 again. So this is negative 270 degrees. And of course here is going to be positive 270 degrees, where the sine is negative 1. So our coordinates for P is 180 degrees, 0, because it's on the x-axis. So it's 180 degrees, 0. And then 29b says write down the coordinates of Q. So Q is negative 270 degrees, 1. Okay, I hope you found that helpful. If you're taking your GCSEs this year, I'd like to wish you every success with your exams and every success with your revision, and I'll look forward to seeing you in another video.